Oops, wrong one. All right, let's be on the record. Case number 2020-CR178, captioned State of Kansas versus Jacob Schell. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
May it please the court, State of Kansas appears by Assistant District Attorney Kyle Custer via Zoom.
May it please the court, the defendant appears via Zoom with counsel Jeffrey Liker via Zoom.
All right, we are here set down today for a sentencing. Looks like the parties were last in court again by Zoom back on August 7th. At that time, the defendant changed his plea from one of not guilty to guilty. I inquired and accepted that plea, ordered a pre-sentence investigation, and set sentencing for today. I've received a copy of that pre-sentence investigation. The critical findings are as follows. Mr. Schell's criminal history score was found to be that of C. This is, as I said, a possession of methamphetamine case, which is a severity level 5 non-person drug felony. That would leave him with a presumption of prison with a presumed range of 28, 30, or 32 months. If he has to do that time, he's eligible for 20% good time credit and subject to post-release supervision duration of 12 months. Two special rules apply in this case. The first being that this crime was committed while on parole for a felony, and the second one being a third or subsequent drug possession. If Mr. Schell is granted probation today, it would be to community corrections for a period of 12 months. Mr. Custer, I'd ask you first, did you get a chance to look over this pre-sentence investigation? Do you have any additions, corrections, or challenges there too?
I did get to look it over, Your Honor. I don't have any additions or corrections to make to it.
Mr. Liger, same question.
I did. I had a chance to talk to my client about it as well after receiving the same, and we have no additions or corrections at this time.
All right. Mr. Schell, Mr. Liger tells me he went over this PSI with you, particularly your criminal history score, and that you don't have any challenges to that. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Liger, you filed a motion for departure. Would you like to be heard on that today?
I did, Judge. As a matter of course, in this particular case, this was a negotiated plea to try and resolve this case short of trial. And my client accepted responsibility some time ago for the acts in question. In fact, I believe that the criminal history scoring in this case, and even the fact that the special rule may apply, I believe we commented on those things at the time of sentencing and even put in the plea petition. So this wasn't a situation where it was a surprise, where it was worse. We all anticipated and knew exactly where he was going to be. And we're able to resolve the case, notwithstanding how we knew that the guideline sentence would come back. So as part of today's plea, I did file, because we knew the special rule would apply, I did file a motion for departure. The reasons being this was a negotiated plea, and I believe it'd be public policy, good public policy anyway, for us to be able to resolve these cases in this particular manner. I also think that this particular possession was a situation where he was not found out causing mischief as he was intoxicated or under the influence of this particular drug. It was a situation where he was arrested and it was found in his front pocket. That being, no one was harmed essentially other than him for the possession itself. And that being a lesser degree than it could have been when somebody ingests this type of dangerous narcotic. I'd also point out this is an offense, and the court can see from the criminal history, there is a little bit of a drug history there. And certainly there are services available on the outside during his probation that would hopefully be able to prevent any future, contact between the defendant and meth. So for those reasons, Judge, I would ask the court to depart, follow the terms of the plea agreement in this particular case, and sentence Mr. Schell accordingly.
Thank you. Mr. Custer, comments on Mr. Liker's motion?
Your Honor, as per the plea agreement, the state agreed not to object to any departure motion. We anticipated that such a thing would be filed for sentencing. And so that was part of our plea negotiation. So I would not object to that departure.
All right. Mr. Schell, anything you want to tell me before I pass sentence today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I am going to find that the defendant has demonstrated through the motion comments today substantial and compelling reasons for me to depart from the sentencing guidelines. That being the defendant's acceptance of responsibility, the circumstances around this case. I do find that both of those support a finding that a non-prison sanction would serve public safety and defendant reformation better than a prison sanction. Therefore, I am going to grant the departure, and the defendant will be sentenced thusly. He'll be sentenced to a term of 30 months in the Department of Corrections. If he ever has to do that time, he'll be eligible for 20% good time credit and subject to 12 months of post-release supervision. His application for probation is considered and it is granted for a period of 12 months to community corrections. Two particular terms of that probation be that he submit urinalysis when requested, and that he obtain a drug and alcohol evaluation and follow the recommendations thereof. All right, Mr. Schell, look, this is your, I think at least your third conviction here. And I understand the difficulty when you get wrapped up in meth in getting out of it easy. I know it's a difficult thing. Look, I'm not here to tell you that if you're ever caught with methamphetamine again, or if you ever drop dirty, you're going to prison or anything like that. But what I need to see out of you is a dedication to treatment, right? The first thing being getting an evaluation and being completely honest with them so that they can design a treatment plan that really has a chance of being successful with you. And then I need you to follow through on that. That doesn't mean that if you have a slip up, a relapse, that I'm immediately going to send you to prison. But what it means is I'm really going to be looking closely at, if there is such a relapse, what your reaction is. Whether you just slip back to your old ways or whether you rededicate yourself to your treatment plan to try and make it a one-off and get past it. Okay? As long as you're doing that, you don't have to worry that I'm going to be sending you to prison for using. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So tell me a little bit, Mr. Schell, what's your living arrangement right now?
Well, I've currently been staying at my aunt's house, but I'm gonna be trying to get to my dad's house in Wyandotte County.
All right. Are you working?
I have been. I've been working at a temp agency.
Okay.
So
Anything more? You got a line on anything more solid than that?
not at the moment, but the temp agency I work for, it's like temp to hire, so they're looking to hire people on permanently. So I think it's fairly decent.
Good deal. All right. Well, I think you seem to me like somebody who could get and maintain a job, and that's going to be important in this case. All right. I will assess court costs and supervision fee. I imagine that Mr. Leiker has a substantial bill with the departure and all. I'm just going to assess $100 of that towards the defendant because I don't want to overwhelm him with court costs. I assume, Mr. Custer, the drugs were not tested. Is that correct?
Sorry about that, Judge.
That's all right.
Yeah, I was just checking on that myself. I believe you're correct, Your Honor. There's not a $400 lab fee being requested.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't believe that's the case.
All right. And Mr. Schell's already in the database, so he doesn't need to pay that fee. So it'll just be court costs, supervision fee, $100 of his attorney fee. Mr. Schell, if I ordered you to pay that off at a rate of $100 a month, do you think that's something you could meet?
Yeah, I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, then that's going to be my order. And that'll get you paid off before your probation's done. All right, so that's going to be the sum total of the sentence today. Mr. Schell, do you have something to write with?
No, I can get a pen real quick.
Yeah, please do. I'm going to give you that in a second, but we will be adjourned from the record. I'm going to stop the live stream before we